And I want to show you what the same updo looks like with extensions that have been added purely for the purpose of dimension. So you can see we have a darker brown extension that's almost the same as what her shadow root is throughout the hair. This will give us more dimension than what's possible when it's all just the same color. We're going to do the same thing here with the center part, center section. That's going to be a braid that will allow us to create our clean volume. So 3-strand, going overhand. Just adding in a little bit of hair as we go. Keeping it close to the head, but it doesn't have to be super tight. All the way down to the nape. Keeping those sections clean as we go. Otherwise, it'll just be more work in the end. And right here, now that we're at the nape, we will elastic this off. Piece out these. I think you can already see that there's more dimension. Here we have this ponytail section that's down. You can see the multi-colors in here. Once again, we're going to tease that from the top. Now I want to make sure the bottom stays clean because even though this is very boho, we don't want it to be messy. So we're going to spray that. And we'll clean that up just a little bit. You always want to add the teasing to basically the interior. And I'm going to roll that up and secure it right here at the base. With one body pin going from the top left down towards the bottom right, almost like from a 10 o'clock position on the clock towards 5 o'clock, and then from 2 o'clock position on the clock to like 7 o'clock. Check those sides to see, do they need to be tucked in a little bit? The benefit of tucking them in is that then it's less to have to worry about covering up later with the braids. You don't want it to look like there's this cylindrical hole. So by tucking it in, it creates more of a flat surface for you. Like that. You can already see some of the difference. This bottom right section. We do our 3-strand. The nice thing about adding the extensions is that it's a way for people to get dimension in their hair for their wedding day or special occasion, but it's not the commitment of hair color. So if you're curious about it, certainly talk to your stylist about adding in just a few pieces. This has 4 extensions in it. 2 of them are 3 clip widths and 2 of them are 2 clip widths. So it's not a ton, but it's just enough to add some variety to the hair color, like as you can see. pin this into place underneath. I'm going to get this tail as well. Just like that. We're a 3-strand from the right side. Now, since it's off scalp, it doesn't really matter if you do it French or Dutch. What I mean is like overhand or underhand. If it was on the scalp, it would make a difference. But the biggest thing is just to braid in the direction, more or less, that you're going to go. So I'm braiding back because that's the direction we're going. If you braid going out this way and you bring it over, there'll be weird bumps and gaps that you'll have to pin more things in later. And sometimes it looks segmented when you do it that way. So we're piecing this out. And I feel like, obviously, one, there's more hair, so you don't actually have to piece out as much to get the same width. But also, I feel like when you're trying to create that volume, you don't have to do it as much when there is the extensions in there for the dimension. Tie this off. Bring it right around here on the bottom. And then I'm actually going to pin it here on the side, and I will pin it again underneath because I really like the placement and the shape of that I don't want it to move or have to adjust it later. Because I want this piece right here to stay closer to that whole bun shape, I'm going to go ahead and put in a hairpin. I'm going to come behind that top braid and loop it through the bottom one and then just put it into the bun. Just like that. Now we have our side pieces, which do have a little bit of the extension in it too. You can see. We'll do that same rope braid. So again, twisting towards the left, or the exterior basically of the head, and then wrapping towards the right. You can certainly try it the other way. I personally just find it more pleasing because it gives the same vibe of curling your hair away from your face when you're doing an up style, which opens up the face, and people tend to find it more aesthetically pleasing. Go ahead and pin this off. Piecing it out. You can see I'm just pulling it really small a little bit down here. Just bring it over top. Again, I'm pinning this after it's gone over the top, literally around the entire bottom. It ends up on the left side, and I just pin it in. And if it has a tail, like you can see here, let's get a little bit more wire pin. Wrap it through that pin and tuck it in. So that way it's not going anywhere. You can always piece it and play with it after as well. The other side, we're going to do the same thing. I always look at the shape and say, hey, where can I fill in any negative space? So to me, there's a negative space here and here, and I'll make sure to cover that. I feel like your last section is the part where it's like the only spots you're filling in are those tiny leftover spots, but it's really your last chance to get those covered unless you are going to need additional pinning. Close here. Piece it out. The big thing is if you don't elastic it before you piece it out, you just really have to hold on, because if not, it can kind of like untwist. If it does a little bit, it can be fine. It can actually add like a little bit of dimension to it, but it can very easily get away from you. I always still pin or elastic. This adds a little bit more security and typically allows it to where you can use less pins. So in this case, I'm going to bring this over here. See, it covers that negative space right here, and it's going to go over the top, just like I want it to. And I'm bringing it in over here from around the left side. This gives it a chance to where if there's any tails or anything else sticking out from previous sections, it's going to be the final thing to cover that. You can always play with it. Want to pin anything further into place, you can. Like honestly, I'd probably pin this part down and bring this up, just to make it so that sectioning isn't obvious. I'm going to go in and just fluff out some of the original part of the bun, bring a little bit more of that dimension upwards. And there you have it, the more dimensional version with the extensions in them.